Are your course launches not getting you as many sales as you'd like? Or worse, maybe you had a really great launch at some time during the past, but every time you promote your course now, you're seeing less and less sales. If that's the case, don't worry, I got you covered in today's video because I'm going to share with you what I do to increase our course launch sales and do it in a way that kind of reduces the workload and the stress. So that way it's a lot more fun. And we call it the lazy launch method. And, I taught this to some clients of ours, Rob and Mel, about a year ago. They came to us. They were only making about $7,000 from their launches, which that ain't bad for a weekend's worth of work. But they were just noticing that it was starting to slow down every single time. So they came in, implemented our method. That first launch they did with us, they did $27,000 in a weekend. And in the years since then, they've been averaging $20,000 or more every single time they run this launch system. So we're going to break it all down today. I'm excited for you to be here, and I'll see you on the other side. Y'all, this is such an important topic because course launches can be such a huge cash infusion into your business, but most course creators get it all wrong and they do way more work than they need to, and they don't really see the benefit of it. They're not squeezing as much juice from their audience. They're not making as much money from these launches as they should because they're either pushing people away or they're just missing things that would lead to more sales and more clients and more results and all the good things that come with it. So today I want to take you through our 6-step process for doing online course launches. And if you follow this strategy, you are going to see way more sales every single time you launch, and you're going to be able to do it in a way that requires way less energy and doesn't leave you with that post-launch hangover. You know what I'm talking about, where you just don't want to do anything for a week after it's done. We're going to get rid of all that. We're going to make you more money. So what needs to change? How do we start making more sales from these course launches? The first step is you have to know what's important. So here's what I see most people do for their course launches, and you let me know if this sounds familiar. First, they pick their date. They decide on some sort of discount or coupon that they're going to use, maybe a whole bunch of bonuses or things that are going to get people excited and want to buy. They tell all their friends, hopefully try and get them to promote it. They start telling everybody about it, on social media. They're posting on their Facebook, on their Instagram, everywhere. They're doing stories. They're creating all kinds of posts around it. They're sending a few emails. They're doing the webinars, the live streams, just trying to be everywhere and hustling their faces off. But the problem is that doesn't necessarily lead to more sales. If we want to get into a real sound online course launch strategy, it just comes down to your sales page and your emails. Those are the two things that give you that bang for your buck, or that 80-20 principle. And those are the things that you're probably suffering, especially the email. So today, we're really going to focus on the email because this is going to be the number one thing that you can fix to just greatly increase sales. And then you can put all that other stuff aside. So now that we've tightened up our focus and we know that we really need to put the majority of our work and our effort into our email marketing during our launch, let's talk about the second step, which are what are the requirements of a good launch? What are the things that need to be included in that email marketing campaign? And I'm just going to go through a list for you here. There's a couple of things we need to do. One, we need to do some pre-sale hype. And what that means is we got to let people know it's coming. So if you have this audience, you're emailing them occasionally, when you're sending out your blast to let them know you got new content or whatever you're doing for your newsletter, start letting them know, hey, I got this awesome product. Here's what it's about. Here's what it does. Next month, we're going to be selling the thing. Get ready, get excited. Just kind of start building that anticipation. Share some testimonials, share some tips, whatever it may be, but start hyping that up. All right. The next piece of that is we're going to have a pre-launch phase, and you're going to see this when we get into the next step, how this is important. But we are going to have, when we choose our dates, we're going to pick a period of time where we're prepping people for the launch. That way we get higher opens and more conversions. All right. So we'll get to that in a second. The next requirement of a good launch is email frequency. And guys, we got to talk here. Seriously, y'all. This is where people screw up. People are afraid to email their lists. And the reality is, the more you email your list, the more money you're going to make. The higher that frequency is, the better you're going to do. And so many people, they have a product and then they're afraid to tell people about it. They won't send an email because they're afraid somebody's going to unsubscribe or send them a nastygram as a reply. breaking news, guys. Like, if they're unsubscribing or they're mad that you're emailing them about your product, who cares? They are not your ideal client anyway. They were never going to be a buyer. Chase them off, right? But there's people there that are your ideal buyers and they want to know. And the more you can put emails in their inbox, the greater chance you have of getting their attention and helping them make the decision to invest in your program, which is going to help them get to that next stage of whatever it is that they want to do with their life. Like, you owe it to them to get them into your program because it's the best thing that you can do to help them achieve their goals. And so we got to have the right email frequency. And I want to break down for you. We're going to talk about this a little later, but I'm going to give you an exact template for what does it look like, during our dates. Like, how many emails do we send on a day? Like, what's the ideal formula? So we'll get to that. Next thing, you got to have scarcity. You got to have scarcity and you got to have urgency. These two things are usually tied together. So I've launched a lot of different ways. I've done things where I had discounts. I've had no discounts. I've left the cart open. I've closed the cart. And I got to tell you, when you close the cart and you create that scarcity, or you only sell a limited number of the thing, you get sales way faster. Because when there's a limited amount of the thing available, or there's a limited amount of time to get it, that scarcity creates urgency. And there's other ways to create it too, but they go, oh, I got to get it. I got to jump in now before the opportunity's gone. That fear of missing out is so powerful, and we need to put that into our launch strategy, okay? And then finally, we need to make sure that we're overcoming common objections and that we're sharing the opportunity. We're painting the picture of what life will be like after they've used your program to solve that problem that they have in their life, okay? We got to do all these things. They're the requirements of a good launch. Step number 3, we got to choose your launch dates. And this is really important. I'm going to recommend a 1-week period starting on a Monday and ending on a Sunday at midnight. Now, we're going to break that up into pre-launch and post-launch. The pre-launch is going to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's going to be the beginning of that week, warming people up, kind of easing them into it. And then we're going to open the cart on Thursday, and we're going to sell till Sunday at midnight. And that's when we slam the cart closed. We don't take any more people, right? So now we're building up that hype. We're getting people excited. And then we're going to be like, this is your last chance. We're going to slam it closed. That creates that urgency. It's going to create more sales. Now, a couple of things that I've learned the hard way that you really need to keep in mind when you're picking your dates. The first one, don't launch your product on a holiday weekend. This is really important, right? Figure out, look at your Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday launch period, and then look at your calendar and see what's going on. I can't tell you how many times I've launched on a holiday and everybody's out having a barbecue, hanging out with their family, and not checking their email. And we had so many fewer sales, and it's crazy. So you got to be careful about holidays. The other big thing you got to be careful about are sporting events. Big sporting events, things like the Super Bowl, the Kentucky Derby, the Olympics, the college football playoff. There are all of these things that people gather around and like they're excited about this thing and their focus is on this thing. And they're not checking their email, right? And so if you're closing cart on Super Bowl Sunday and you're trying to send out emails in the evening saying, hey, it's your last chance, guess what? They're drinking beer. They're eating wings. They're watching their team or cheering for the team to hopefully beat the one that they hate. They're not paying attention to your launch emails. So don't make that mistake. And think about anything else that could be going on. Like, what is happening politically at the time? Could that impact what you're doing in some way? What about like just families? Like if you're selling to people and they have kids, are there school events? Is it like a big vacation time? Like you got to think about all the things going on in the calendar and make sure that there's not something that's going to steal the attention away from what you're doing. My final tip for you for choosing dates is aim for paydays. I try to line up my launch weekends at either the beginning of the month around the 1st or the end of the month, kind of overlapping the 1st, or at the 15th, right? So if you can aim for that 1st or 15th and line it up with the weekend, that's super helpful, because some people, they're going to want to plan for this and they're going to need to set money aside, or they're going to maybe have other expenses and they're going to need that paycheck to come in to be able to invest. So we've found that when you line up on the 1st and 15th, you generally have more sales than when you pick random dates during the month. Now, the 4th step is setting up your email schedule and your frequency. We touched on this a little bit earlier about how we have the pre-launch Monday to Wednesday and the actual launch emails are Thursday to Friday. And what we want to do is we want to have like a nice, easy, laid back schedule of just one email a day on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then we're going to turn up the frequency and we're going to turn up the heat the rest of the weekend. And my recommendation is on the day you open the cart on Thursday, you want to send 2 emails. And then on the last day, you want to send 3. Then Saturday, Sunday, you can send 1 if you want, or if you're feeling like, hey, I want to do the frequency thing like Mike said, try and send 2. So our ideal framework is 2, 2, 2, 3 on Sunday. Or if that just makes you nervous, start with 2, 1, 1, 3. Okay, but it's really important to have the double email on the front of your launch when you open the cart and the triple email on that last day when you close it, okay? Because that's when you're going to get the bulk of your sales. And we can actually, after years of doing this and millions of dollars in sales, we have seen that there's a clear pattern that we usually get about 25% of our sales on opening day on Thursday, and then the other 25% comes on Saturday, Sunday combined, with over 50% of our sales happening on Sunday, and a lot of times 20 to 30% of that 50% happening in the evening on Sunday when the cart's about to close and people get antsy and they start buying because they don't want to miss out. Now we're on to step 5. Let's talk about the important emails in your launch sequence. There's a couple of things that you got to have. First off, you got to have that cart open email. This one is really important. You want a subject line that's like, Facebook side hustle is now available, or open now, or doors are open, whatever. Like, you want to let them know that, hey, the course is here. And inside, you want to paint out all of the details. Like, what is the opportunity? What are you teaching? What is it going to help them achieve? Like, how long is this launch happening? It opens today. It closes Sunday at midnight. This is how much it costs. Here's the coupon code. You want all the information in that first email and drive them to that sales page, okay? Because you want them, that's one of the ones that's going to get the most opens. And so you want to give them all of the information you need. Now, don't try to sell in the email. This is really important. You're not really trying to sell. You're trying to drive the click. And I should have mentioned this earlier, but the whole point of all of your launch emails, once you get into the launch phase, is driving the click to the sales page. And then you let that sales letter do the work and actually get the conversion, right? All you're trying to do is drive them to the click. So let them know the opportunity. Let them know what they're going to get. Let them know how long they have to get it. And then here's the link to go check it out and learn more, right? And then when they go there, that's going to get in all the objections and all of that kind of stuff. Now, we're still going to handle objections and those kind of things, but those are going to come in other emails, but we don't want to do it in every email, okay? And I'll show you what I mean here in a second. So the second email that's really essential is we want to have an FAQ email. And so you should know what are the most common questions or objections that people have, the concerns they have, the questions that they need answered before they feel comfortable moving forward. And generally, every single one of those FAQs should be addressed in your sales letter, but you are going to have some people that are just going to click and they're going to go and they're not going to read the long thing and they're going to go to the cart and buy. And so having those available in the email is really great. And so what we recommend is just like, we have a email called What the Fact, right? It gets a really high open rate. Feel free to steal that headline. I don't mind. And then we go in there and we say, hey, we're going to break down all the most common questions that we have. And we just put them, it's a bold question, and we put a little paragraph beneath it. And then the next one and the next one. We have like 10 or 12 things, and we answer all those questions. It's like, if you want to learn more, click here, check out the program. You have until Sunday at midnight to join in, right? And then we send them to the sales page. So the FAQ email is super important. We generally like to do that early in the process. So that might be something that we do. You could do it as the second email, the evening email on the first day, but that's usually one that we like to save for Saturday. We want it to be earlier in the process so people have plenty of time to read it, but generally we do the cart open email and then we start kind of painting the opportunity in that second email on opening day. Next, your other emails, you want to choose a single objection or paint the opportunity in some way. And these are going to be different emails that you're going to do. I'm going to give you an example of like how to paint the picture. We have this really awesome email because in our Facebook Side Hustle course, we're teaching people how to make money by running ads for local businesses. And so we have this email and it's like, the top 7 things that you can do with all the money you're going to be earning from your new side hustle. And we go in, and my business partner, Bobby, wrote it, and it's really great because he's just funny in email. And so he has all of these crazy things that like people can do, and they touch on like the things that people want to do, like paying off debt, saving for retirement, going on crazy vacations, you know, and then there's a couple of silly things worked in there. But it's really great because it helps people see the opportunity and dream about what could happen after they go through the program. And you really want that. You want to paint those highs, not just the lows. Then you want to have those objection emails. Like, what is the thing people are most worried about? You know, so for us, one of the things people are most worried about is that it's going to be too hard or take too much time. And so we write this email talking about how easy it is and how we walk them through it step by step, and how once you go through the program and learn how to do it, how little time it takes each week to get this high return and this high earnings inside of the course, right? So you want to overcome those objections in the email. And then finally, you want to have your cart is closing emails and your last chance emails. So cart closing emails, these are definitely usually going to come either on Sunday. You're going to have Saturday night and Sunday morning. Like, hey, time is running out. Tomorrow is the last day to join. Or, hey, this is it, guys. We're on the last day. Here's the opportunity, you know, and have that kind of email. Those are your closing soon emails. You really want to have those, right? Then you want to have an email that goes out at like 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. That's like last chance, the doors are closing. And this email is generally very short. It's like, hey, we've already told you all about it. Your last chance to join is at midnight. If you don't join by then and you email me, I'm going to say, too bad, you missed the opportunity. You're going to have to wait till the next one. But it's like a really short email. And I remember when our copywriter sent us the first batch of emails that we did, and he had this really short last chance email. And we're like, dude, like this one, you barely put any effort in. And he just said, trust me, that email is going to make you the most money. And he was right, because all you're doing is putting one more reminder on people's mobile device and putting it in front of their face in case they forgot, and then pushing them over the edge by saying, you've only got a few hours. And as soon as that email hits, that's all they needed was that nudge, and the sales will flood in. Now we get to step number 6, and let me tell you, this is the real secret to a successful launch. This is the secret sauce. This is the stuff nobody talks about, and it's so important. And that's, you have to have lead gen, because the things that you do in the months leading up to your launch will determine how successful your launch is and how much money you make. If you're not bringing new leads in every day, if you're not building your email list, then you're not going to have a very good launch. And eventually, every consecutive launch that you have where you're not bringing in new fresh blood, you're going to get some sales, because it does take people hearing your message 2 or 3 times before they finally pull the trigger. But if you're not bringing that fresh blood, the sales in your launches are going to go down every single time until they dwindle away to nothing. So having an email list and building your audience is incredibly important to having a successful launch. Now, you might be thinking, Mike, this is great. This was a great video. This was super helpful, but I don't have an audience. I don't have a following at all. What do I do? Glad you asked. I want you to watch this other video where I talk to you about how to sell your online course when you don't have a following.